Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we've been in this podcast for a whole hour and we haven't seen one jetpack. Not one. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Greg Smith. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including Labo VR, a new Octopath Traveler game, and the Mortal Kombat 11 story trailer. Then on Thursday, Mark and I are going to discuss Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. But in the meantime, Greg, you're not Mark.
That's true.
You're Greg.
That's also true.
Thank you so much for coming and doing the show with me.
Thanks so much for having me. What a joy.
It is a joy. Greg, you were one of our earlier guests.
Yeah, I think so.
We discussed weird games. That's right.
I spoke at length about Def Jam Fight for New York for the Nintendo GameCube.
And I think I talked about Final Fantasy Legend.
Yep.
Or Adventure, one of the two.
Yep, and Mark talked about like a pest and exterminator game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
That was a weird... Hey, we did a good job talking about weird games.
We fulfilled the premise.
So Greg is here to help me through all of the news this week, and there's a lot of stuff that it seems perfect for Greg and I to talk about.
Oh boy!
Because look, we're Mortal Kombat boys.
Oh, it's true. We're a couple of MKBs, you and I.
Look, I have wanted to do for a long time a comic strip that is Little Mortal Kombat. That's just like Mortal Kombat babies.
Like what happens when they babality each other,
and they just stay that way.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm assuming or what I'm imagining is that there would be like an Earth elementary school and like an Outworld elementary school, and at some point one of the schools has to close down and they have to merge.
Yeah.
And then you play through the plots of Mortal Kombat's 1 through 3 with elementary school versions of Scorpion and Baraka and Liu Kang. That's it.
I imagine instead of fighting, it's like, what do? They play Foursquare?
They probably play Foursquare. They play Freeze Tag,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, Sub-Zero plays
loves
freeze tag,
of course.
Scorpion plays Red Rover.
Yep, very
Get over
good.
here.
Let's see. Someone's got to do finger painting.
Goro. Goro's very good at finger painting. Baraka's very bad at finger painting.
That's right.
He keeps poking through the paper.
Does he have like safety blades?
Yeah, and he's like really embarrassed by
Yep.
them, and Mama Baraka is like, make sure you're wearing them, and he's like, stop it.
My point is, this is a good idea.
It's very good. Patent pending.
Yeah, so patent pending. No one steal that.
Yeah, it's legal because we said it.
So we'll get to that in a second, but first, just some regular housekeeping stuff up front. My copy of Sonic Forces, would you like to borrow it? You can. All you have to do is email me your physical address or an address where you work or whatever to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and I send it to you, and then you get postage and send it back to me. You play it for as long as you want. It's a great program. It's a successful program. People are loving the game.
Is that right?
I don't know if people are enjoying playing it.
They should have to give you a report.
So there is a small sheet of paper that travels with it.
I didn't know that.
And some people write little notes on it.
What have they written? Or is it private?
Well, it may in fact be private. No one has said, please discuss these on air.
That's fair. And
I also don't have the sheet of paper is out with the game right now.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I see. It's like a hotel guest book.
It is a little bit. It looks like an evidence log.
Oh, spooky.
So people like write their Switch friend code on it. So there's another thing. If you borrow this thing, you get like 12 new Switch friends.
That's just so sweet. It's just so sweet. I like it.
It's a good program. Get involved, everyone. Also, a little programming note that for the rest of the month, we are doing weird retro sequels. I already said that this week, Mark and I are going to be talking about Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins on the Game Boy. And then next week, we're talking about Zoda's Revenge, Star Tropics 2, a super late NES game. And then the week after, we are doing Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. So play along with those if you can, or, if you can't, check them out on YouTube or something. And, let us know what your experiences are with them. You can email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. All right, Greg, are you ready to get into what we've been playing this week?
Yes.
Good. Now, I have to confess that I've been playing a ton of Tetris 99.
Yeah. Seems right.
Look, the game is so good. Have you gotten a chance to dip into Tetris 99?
Here's the thing about me, Patrick.
Yeah, tell me a thing about you.
It's a very efficient way to give me an anxiety attack.
Yes.
By having me play any Tetris, let alone the whole 99 Battle Royale aspect.
Mm-hmm.
You put regular Tetris in front of me, 10 seconds in, I am a puddle on the floor.
Yeah.
The game stresses me out. I'm bad at it. I tried Tetris 99 for literally like 10 seconds, and I threw my Joy-Cons at the TV, threw my Switch out the window.
Then went outside, got your Switch.
Went outside, repaired it,
right.
Spent a lot of money.
Well, I am the opposite. I am energized by Tetris. It gives me life.
Ooh.
And this weekend was the Tetris Maximum Cup, which was a tournament that was running all weekend. Started sometime on Friday.
By definition, there is no more cup to be had.
That's true.
It's the Maximum Cup.
It is the Maximum Cup. And the premise behind it is that, or at least in America, there were other rules in Europe, I believe. But in North America, the top 999 players from the weekend, so the people who won the most matches, or the top 1,000, each win 999 gold coins, which is $10.
That's not nothing.
No, so Nintendo, I don't know that I've really thought too hard about this, but Nintendo basically is going to give away $10,000 of eShop credit.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty nuts. But so Sarah and I played a ton this weekend. We've been playing a lot. Got an email from a listener, hey, Dustin, because he noted that we have been playing over 40 hours of Tetris 99.
That is a full work week.
It's a very long time, but we hand the controller back and forth to each other. That will be like a common weekday night when we're both home, is just hanging out, playing Tetris, and like talking and joking and stuff. So,
I love talking.
Yeah, it's good. So we got 7 wins this weekend.
Nice.
7?
Not to be Brad Pitt and Moneyball. 7 out of how many games would you estimate? Did you play?
Geez. God, we probably played like 200 games.
7 out of 200. Now, I would imagine in Tetris 99, those games are real hard to win because by design you're playing against 98 other people.
Right. By definition, only 1% of the people playing at any given time are going to win.
Yes. Do you feel like 7 out of 200-ish, is that like Hall of Fame numbers? Is that like regularly on base numbers?
I mean, I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
We were checking the Tetris 99 hashtag this weekend to try and figure out is there because it's easy to tweet a win from your Switch.
Cool.
That you can just take the screen grab and throw it up on Twitter real easy, and it automatically populates with those hashtags. So we were checking and, seeing most posts about it, people being like, hey, it's my first win in this.
Aww.
And which is exciting too.
It is.
But I mean, like prior to this weekend, I think Sarah had 3 wins and I had 1 total.
Wow.
So the game is hard, and we both consider ourselves good Tetris players. So the fact that we doubled our overall win score this weekend, we feel very good about.
That's very good information to know. And as a manager who is, like Brad Pitt in Moneyball, putting together a Tetris 99 game,
oh my God,
we're going to change the franchise. Let's just say you're highly in consideration.
Ooh, I just gotta work on getting on base.
Yeah. Just all we need is getting on base.
So the winners will be
Moneyball
announced.
is such a good movie.
It is such a good movie.
Sorry.
No, I like that it is because that's a Sorkin script, right?
Sorkin and Steve Zalian.
Yeah. So manages to take everything that I like about a Sorkin script and like sift through all the stuff I don't like about a Sorkin script.
Yes, it's why I like Sorkin a lot when he is cut by another voice, which is why Social Network is so good.
Yeah,
Although
totally.
Molly's Game, written and directed by Sorkin, very good.
I have not seen Molly's Game.
I liked it quite a bit.
I'll put it on the list. We will find out who wins these 999 gold coins, quote, on or around March 24th. So expect me to report back on that if I'm either very happy about having won $10 or very upset about not having won $10. Greg, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I tend to be a hopper, a dipper, a sort of a cha-cha slider. I go to the left, then I take it back now, y'all. I dive into different games, and I spend like an hour in a game, and then I'll spend an hour in another game here or there. So big news for me. I beat classic mode with every character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate recently.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was expecting something to happen. I just got a little milestone.
Yeah, just like
I wanted a little, I don't know what I wanted, but something, right?
Well, how about a sincere congratulations from me? Greg, congratulations.
Thanks, Patrick.
That's not enough, is it?
It actually is.
Oh, okay, good.
To have a like face to face.
Yes.
You're higher in consideration for this team. That's all I'm saying. But I also dive into like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is just so fun and so hard for me, but in a way that I find satisfying.
Do you consider yourself a tactics guy?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm very bad at strategizing. I just want to like dive in there and get dirty. This game is such a good strategy game for somebody like me, and I think like Mark has kind of talked about because it, much like Social Network cuts pure Sorkin with David Fincher's sort of procedural whatever, this game cuts the pure tactics with like the cute, accessible, fun, very cute,
and funny. Right?
It's very funny.
There's a lot of good, funny environmental storytelling of just like things you see in the background.
Absolutely.
And you have to like tease out a whole story of like, how did that rabbit get there? And it's always funny.
Absolutely. When that opera boss
is
they
great.
devote like 5 minutes to just him singing. It fills me with such joy. So it gives me like a reason, an incentive to like, okay, I'm gonna try and strategize. I'm gonna try and get a little better at tactics.
Yeah, and well, the game's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it does when you level up to a point, you can kind of get through the main level missions without having to like really scrutinize every tiny little detail. If you think something's going to work, it probably will. Yeah,
and that feels good. It feels like, oh, I'm putting in effort and the rewards are like there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have on our list here that you've also been playing a little bit of Banner Saga.
Yeah, I grabbed Banner Saga and I grabbed Grim Fandango Remastered, which are two very story-driven games. And it's just, I don't know what it is about me. It's hard for me to find the time to like really give these games the hours they deserve.
Yeah.
What I will say is that normally I'm not super into like medieval fantasy world kind of storytelling, but Banner Saga, I don't know what it is.
Oh man, that art style is so hot.
It's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
The Ralph Bakshi kind of like hand-drawn. Ooh, it's just beautiful to look at. And Grim Fandango, there's never been a more Greg Smith game made. It's so funny. It's a point-and-click LucasArts adventure, which is the sentence for me. The music is great. I love the Dia de los Muertos culture stuff. It feels authentic to me. I just love this darn game. I need to find more time to play it.
Had you played the original back in the day?
No, I missed it.
So what drove it to you this time? Were you just like here, you know of its legacy or what?
Yeah, I knew of its legacy. I knew that as a fan of LucasArts point and click, that it was one I had missed on my list. And not to be too transparent, it was on a very good sale one week.
That is an excellent reason to get any video game.
Yep.
It is on an excellent sale.
Yep.
Not on an excellent sale. I went back to Wargroove this weekend.
Great segue.
Thank you. I did not spend a ton of time because, again, I had Tetris to play. But Wargroove...
Wargroove could be a good alternate title for Tetris.
Because you do have to get into a Wargroove. And especially a battle Tetris where you're sending trash over to other people.
Oh, yeah.
But there is a new patch that makes Wargroove infinitely more playable. I liked Wargroove when it first came out, but it was a little too difficult and a little too time consuming for me to really like buckle in, really buckle down and play. And so now they've added a bunch of things. One are mid-fight checkpoints.
Oh, I love that.
So if you were in the middle of something that was going to take an hour to get through and you died, you had to start at the beginning of that hour. No questions asked. That was just it. Now you can throw down one checkpoint per fight anytime you want, which is great. There are new difficulty levels. There is a normal and an easy setting. Turns out the game defaults to being on hard.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you could always like slide. There were always like individual difficulty sliders.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that you could always say like, oh, enemy units deal this % less damage.
It goes that granular?
Yeah, like super, super granular. You can change like how fast your units are. Like you can do all this stuff. But just having a kind of blanket, I'm going to turn it down to normal. It kind of adjusts all those things in ways that the game knows itself better than I know it, right? Game, you tell me how to play you on an easier mode. It also now throughout the levels, anytime you check the mission overview, you can see what you need to achieve an S rank in something. So there's no like beating it and at the end of it realizing like, I should have done this 2 turns faster.
That's so helpful. Every game I've ever played that has an S rank feels so unattainable.
Yeah.
It feels so like I played this level so right. Here comes the grade, a B. Sonic, come on, man.
Come on.
Don't do me dirty.
Jeez. A Sonic the Hedgehog, and look, anyone who's borrowing my copy of Sonic Forces will know this all too well. I don't know how you get S or A ranks in those things.
No.
Like first 2 levels, sure. First 2 levels, yeah, you do them by accident.
I accidentally leaned on my right D-pad, and I got an S in Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
So there's a bunch of other stuff in Wargroove that makes it more playable. I will play more of it and report back next week, I'm sure. All right, so that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week. Okay, so kind of a bunch of fun stuff coming out this week. Today, Tuesday, March 12th, there are a couple games, but Greg, you specifically marked Claybook.
Yeah, this game I'd never heard of before. It kind of feels like what if Aardman Studios produced Katamari Damacy?
Okay.
Is that elevator pitch track?
So what do you actually do? Like, what is the mechanic of the game?
What I believe it is like Katamari, you kind of control this block of clay, and the game's graphics look very realistically clay-like.
Ooh.
I looked at some gameplay earlier today, and it looked like I could reach into my screen and like grab it and like mold it. And you roll around.
That was easier because your Switch was broken already. You can just reach your hand inside that crack.
Yeah. I shocked myself.
Right.
Had to go to the doctor. I'm not doing great.
Oh.
So Claybook. It's fine. Claybook. It looks like you are rolling around kind of like a child's playroom. And like in the background, there is like a kid watching this happen, which is a little creepy maybe.
Ugh.
But you are told to like turn your clay block yellow, go and like make a specific indent into this other clay. And as you roll around, you collect things, you see your clay stick to other things, and the style just looked so like...
That sounds like tactile and experiential.
Kind of like a spiritual cousin to like the woolly Yoshi kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It looks like I could grab it and do this and like squeeze it.
Right.
With it. And it just looks so nice.
I'll have to at least check out videos of that. That sounds interesting. On Wednesday, March 13th, Baba Is You is coming out. Greg is shaking his head because he's excited. He doesn't know what to make of it.
I don't know.
Baba Is You.
This game looks so good.
It's like if Scribblenauts was crazy.
Yeah, it's like if Scribblenauts was like programmed. If Scribblenauts was about Python programming?
If Scribblenauts was dangerous, I think is what it is. Because, like, you can...
Scribble naughty.
So, ooh. Are you Scribble naughty or Scribble nice?
Oh, I'll never tell. I'm the kid from Playbook.
So the premise of the game is that there are always like little written statements about all of the objects in the game, and you can change what they are. So if it will start off by saying Baba is you, and you are controlling Baba.
Baba's a very cute little like bunny looking thing.
Right, but if you want to change it to flower is you, then now you are controlling a flower.
Yep.
Or if you want to say, there's a flower on screen, you change it to flower is win, and you touch the flower,
You win.
then you win.
And that's kind of how the levels seem to be designed. It's like weird logic puzzles
Yeah,
where you have to figure out. It's like a flag you have to touch or something.
something like that. Yeah.
And to get to it, you have to like figure out the right linguistic programming. Where like wall is. What was the example in the video? Wall is walkable or whatever, and then suddenly you can just walk through the wall, and there you go, you win.
And there just aren't enough like games like that.
Yeah.
That are just like no, you have the power of language to mute anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's this game has been out on Steam for a while, but I'm interested in checking it out on Switch. Also coming out on Wednesday to the Switch Online NES Classic, whatever it's called, Kid Icarus and Star Tropics. Both these games were announced last week, and I believe that Mark and I willed these things into existence because we will not stop talking about either of these games on this show. So I recommend checking them out, especially with save states and really being able to scrub a little bit on something like Star Tropics, which has difficulty spikes that are unforgivable in normal circumstances. But if you have save states, fine.
I've been playing my SNES Classic a lot lately.
Oh, yeah.
That rewind.
Oh, it's so nice.
It spoils me.
Yeah.
When I jump into like, I forgot to mention, I've been playing a lot of new Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
Deluxe U, Alpha, Bonus,
Omega,
whatever.
Sapphire.
Fire Gold. And when I go into that after kind of being used to playing like Super Mario World in SNES Classic, I die and I'm like, oh, I'll just rewind. Oh,
I can't. I can't just rewind.
Oh.
You can just rewind in this.
It's very kind.
In Japan, they are not getting Star Tropics, but they are getting Fire Emblem.
That's a big one.
The original Fire Emblem has never been ported to the West.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and so it's all in Japanese, so it may be hard to play. But it's not impossible to set up a Japanese Switch account and download that version as long as you're subscribed to the Switch Online. So that may be a fun thing to check out, especially again with that rewind feature in a Fire Emblem game. Yo. Coming out on Thursday, March 14th. Rico, Greg, you tagged this one.
Oh, I'm just it's an FPS. I don't know why I've been jonesing for a shooter on my Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that, and it's like got cool cell shaded sort of graphics.
It's co-op too, right?
Yeah. Cool.
So that could be fun too.
I'm just like, I don't know. Sounds fun.
Sign me up tentatively.
Sign me up tentatively is right. It kind of reminds me of almost like a Time Splitters vibe.
Ooh, yeah.
Or like a like a pop version of Killer 7.
Yeah, totally.
Something like that.
I mean, it definitely reads like maybe like a late PlayStation 2, early PlayStation 3 game.
Yes.
But it looks bright and fun.
You know what it reminds me of? Did you ever play the game 13?
I did not play the game 13.
I believe I played it for the GameCube.
That's about the 13th Amendment, right?
Yes. It's a very sad game that needs to be patched, frankly. Does that joke track? I don't know enough about the 13th Amendment.
No, I think it tracks. Yeah, the amendment needs to be patched, needs to be revised.
Yes.
We need to amend the amendment.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it tracks.
13 was the cel-shaded FPS that I played on the GameCube, where you played as like a secret agent who kind of didn't know what was going on, and you shot your way through stuff. And it had this kind of pop 60s cel-shaded kind of fun sort of aesthetic. And this game reminds me of that a lot.
Well, that sounds great. I might check Rico out.
Yeah.
Also coming out on Thursday, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker special episode. Nintendo working real hard on their naming conventions there. This is the DLC for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I pre-purchased it and will be playing it the second it comes out.
Love this game.
What a great game.
It's so fun.
Also coming out on Thursday, Johnny Turbo's Arcade. Joe and Mac returns. I picked up the original Joe and Mac when it came out on the Johnny Turbo's Arcade. Regretted it a little bit. And I might do it again. The Red Strings Club is another one that you have tagged here, Greg.
Yeah, again, if you make a point and click adventure, I'm gonna want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one in particular looks very kind of like cool cyberpunk neon pinks and blues and sunsets.
That
And
does sound nice.
yeah, it kind of has almost like a Drive, Nicholas Winding Refn's Drive kind of aesthetic. And I like that it has sort of retro styled 8-bit kind of graphics. I like that it is told through like traditional text chains. It just looks very up my alley.
Do you have any inkling what the titular Red Strings are?
I don't have a single inkling.
No inklings at
And I can't wait to be surprised.
Also coming out on Thursday, Teddy the Wanderer Mountain Hike.
Listen.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I'm listening.
Here's the thing. Teddy the Wanderer is a cute little dog.
Mm-hmm.
He wears
Done. Sold. I'm there.
Yeah. He wears a backpack. He's got a hat. He has a bandana.
Does he stand up? Or
Yeah.
is he... Oh, that's...
He's on a hike.
Yeah, he sounds like a good boy, Greg.
He sounds like a really good boy. It seems cute. I wanna support Teddy in any way I can. Seems like he's a very nice young boy.
Probably the opposite of that. On Monday, March 18th, Turok is coming to the Switch.
This is exciting to me.
So this is the Nintendo 64 game, formerly called Turok Dinosaur Hunter. This is the version that was remastered for Windows in 2015 and then came to Xbox One in 2018. It's Turok. Greg, did you play Turok?
This is one I missed.
Oh.
It was one I would always walk by at my local Blockbuster, and I was always like, maybe today's the day. Nah. And it always looked kind of dark and cool and weird.
So it is dark and cool and weird. It is a super early first-person shooter on the Nintendo 64. Predates
Yes.
GoldenEye.
Wow.
And you can tell from the way it controls, even worse than GoldenEye.
Even in the remastered version? Or have
I guess I don't know about the remastered
Gotcha.
version. I would actually hope that they clean that up some. The game was also super foggy because the Nintendo 64 couldn't do very good draw distances.
Yes, I remember that happening in a lot of games.
Yeah, and Turok especially because the models are pretty detailed. Like the dinosaurs look kind of good.
Was it an expansion pack game?
No, it was way before the expansion
Gotcha.
pack. Like I think this thing came out in the first year.
Oh, wow.
First year and a half of the Nintendo 64's life cycle. And this is a game that I did not play a lot of because it was one of my first like forays into real 3D first person shooter stuff. And it made me like sick. It gave me like a headache to play it.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Before that, I was playing a lot of Duke Nukem 3D.
Sure.
Which
Similarly kind of like aggressive, masculine.
Oh man, that game! I am frequently embarrassed by how much I played Duke Nukem 3D.
I get it.
But you go to a LAN party and everyone's playing it, and you're
Sure.
just in a death match for 6 consecutive hours. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Give them a lecture on toxic masculinity?
Of course you're not. You're gonna go up to the dancing girls and push spacebar to make them show you their breasts. It's not great. It's not a great game.
Woof.
Night Dive Studios, who is bringing Turok to Switch, also teased on their Discord channel that they may be bringing Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, over to the Switch at some point in the future. Seeds of Evil. That Turok 2, that same version of it, came to Xbox One last year as well. So maybe we'll see that.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, let's get out of the new releases. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Greg and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Just as last week, I have some topics that Mark has prepared for us. Greg, if you would pick one and read it, please, we will discuss.
Yes, I've picked the one that has a nice kind of teal coloring.
The teal one.
The teal one. Seeds of Evil.
Evil.
This is the perfect one because I've been thinking about this.
Very good.
Do you only buy shoes that are your exact size? How big or small are you willing to go for fashion?
Oh boy. Well, why has this particular topic been on your brain?
Because for the past, I'm going to say month,
Mm-hmm.
I have been trying. It seems like a simple task, right? I've been trying to buy new shoes.
It's tough.
That's all I'm trying to do.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
So I have to go somewhere in person. I can't buy shoes online
Mm-hmm.
for this reason. It's like some sizes aren't quite, an Adidas 12 isn't the same as a Nike 12, whatever.
Absolutely. Oh, and you and I are both tall men.
True.
So we have at least fairly large feet.
True.
Do you mess around with a wide?
No.
See, now this is something that in my most recent shoe shopping that I have been looking for, because I will normally go for like an 11 or 11 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it feels nice on my foot, like width wise. But I
Patrick, calm down.
I always have extra room on my toes.
Yeah.
So I need a smaller shoe size, but wide.
I know what you mean. I think I maybe have the opposite problem.
Go on.
I think when I buy, so I did recently buy a couple new pairs of shoes. There is one more pair I'm still trying to get. I'll get it eventually. But I got some casual Adidas, which I'm wearing right now. And I also got some new running shoes, which were also Adidas, at Journeys at the Burbank Town Center in beautiful Burbank, California. I got Sparrow before. It was great.
Sounds great.
They only had 11 and a halves, and it felt totally fine width-wise, but length-wise, it did bump up against my toes. I wanted it to be taller.
A taller shoe.
But I have used those running shoes. I played tennis this past weekend with those running shoes, and I got used to it. It was fine.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is where I usually land, is that I'm like, there's too much room at the end of these shoes, and I'm like, I'll just get used to it. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe not the best way to go about living your shoe life, right?
Maybe not the best way. I don't know how like existential 433s can get.
They can get pretty broad. So let me ask you this: have you ever done? Because you are occasionally a running man. I am occasionally a running man. Have you ever done the thing where you go to the athletic shoe place and they're like, "Show me how you run," and then
no, I never have.
Oh, I never have either.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a real thing, and they can like prescribe shoes for you, which is almost certainly the way that you should do it. Right?
It is the way you should do it. Here's my issue. I'm vain.
Yeah.
I'm very vain when it comes to clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to look nice. I like for my shoes to match what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I would worry that prescription running shoes, they would give it to me and they only have them in like plain gray.
Right.
And I'm like,
right.
no. Give me some colors. Give me some pastels. Give me some options.
But you have to imagine that you're not the only stylish person who has tried to run comfortably.
No, I think it's just me. No. You're right. They probably have. They know this is a concern.
We're in Los Angeles, baby. Vanity is the currency.
Oh, wow. Let's get into it.
Yeah, they can get really existential. I had a friend who had different sized feet. Like they were his shoe sizes. He had to buy 2 pairs of shoes because they were like a full 2 sizes different from each other.
2 sizes different.
Yeah.
That's rough. Would he, if I was this friend, would they like, ooh.
Oh, well, I guess we will never know about Matt Murphy and his big feet. All right. We were accompanied today by pianist Kyle Shaw. Thank you, Kyle. All right, Greg, let's get into the news. All right. So last week, Nintendo has announced a new Labo Toy-Con set, the VR kit. VR.
Seeds of Eve. I got to stop saying that.
I don't think we do. The VR set comes in 2 different varieties. One is the VR starter kit, which just comes with the VR goggles and a blaster, and that'll retail for $40. And then there are 2 expansion kits. Expansion kit number 1 includes a camera and an elephant.
I'm sorry, an elephant?
We'll loop back around to the elephant in a second. And expansion kit 2 includes a bird and a wind pedal.
I'm sorry, a wind pedal?
We're just going to have to accept that these are real things that exist in the real world. The expansion kits are only available directly from Nintendo, and they're $20 each, or you can get the complete VR kit for $80. So a lot to take in here.
Yeah.
So both the elephant and the bird, you're like constructing parts of animals
Yes.
with the cardboard and then putting the Switch inside them, I guess, and having some kind of VR experience.
Like an animal sort of themed VR, like you go on a safari with this elephant, or
So they're always kind of cagey about what the software does before the release of these things.
Yeah, that makes sense based on like what I know about Nintendo's image and mystique and what they try to cultivate.
Yeah, well, and I think especially with the Labo stuff that they know what part of the experience is the sellable part of this experience. It's building these cool things out of cardboard.
Yes.
And Labo is fun. I have 2 Labo sets, and I enjoy putting them
yeah,
together.
I'm looking at them right now.
Mhm.
I've never messed with it. I've never played with it.
We should screw around with a little bit of it
Yeah.
when we're done recording.
Yeah.
But I am concerned about
Ooh.
VR on
You're
on
shaking.
the Switch. I am.
You don't look well.
Look, would you hand me that blanket, please, and a little
here.
hot cocoa? Oh,
Here.
thank you.
Don't drink the blanket. What are you doing? No, don't pour the hot cocoa on yourself. What are you?
Look, the screen doesn't have great resolution, right?
720p
720p is what the Switch is capable of.
in handheld mode. It can
in-
go to 1080 docked.
Yeah, that's right. But you're not going to be able to slide your TV into
Hey,
the VR.
Sounds like a challenge.
It does. It does, Greg? I challenge you. That compares not favorably to the PlayStation VR, which runs at 1080, and an Oculus will run at 1200p. And, I'm not normally someone to really get hung up on resolution, screen resolution.
I 100% am.
You are.
Yeah, I'm a resolution nerd for sure.
It's in VR makes a huge difference. Do you consider? Do you like VR?
I've never tried it. I'm scared to because I
Mhm.
get motion sick pretty easily.
Yeah,
3D movies I can't even do.
yeah,
So I know I eventually will try it, but it scares me.
yeah.
How do you like it?
So I go right for the experiences that are the least nausea-inducing possible. I've got a PlayStation VR, and the only games I've played on it are those where you are in a fixed position and like looking around a room, or where you are playing Tetris, because Tetris Effect is a wonderful
VR?
game. Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
It would
Just shoot a panic attack into my
I was
veins.
gonna say it would stretch
Just
out.
do it.
So I worry that this is not going to look good. It's going to be nausea-inducing, and it's made out of cardboard. So like the headsets, I feel like comfort is a huge part of the VR experience.
That makes sense.
And the thing that I love about the PlayStation VR is that the headset goes on nice. It feels nice on your head. It feels nice to touch it. Everything responds in like a super intuitive way. I really like the PlayStation VR headset. But if I'm like messing around with like cardboard and like rubber bands, I don't know how this thing stays on my head.
Well, there's the like the HTC Vive or whatever that's called, and like the Oculus Rift. Aren't those kind of like cardboard?
Well, like the like Google Cardboard, right?
Yes.
I mean, and I guess all of those work somehow.
Yeah.
But I just maybe they've cracked the code and it'll be a super comfortable experience. But
You're used to champagne. You don't want to go
that's right.
to Natty Ice.
That's right. Thank you for putting it in terms I will understand. All of this comes out on April 12th, which is about a year after the first release of Nintendo Labo. Does this interest you, Greg?
Not a ton. Here's what I'm intrigued by.
Yes.
Everything about this kind of feels of a similar thesis statement that I'm guessing the Nintendo Labo VR wants to make, except for it comes with a blaster.
Yeah.
Everything else about it seems very gentle, very experiential, very like kids creating. And then also you get a gun.
Right. Don't forget, you can also shoot things.
So what is that about? What are you going to use with this blaster?
Well, I mean, what actually does sound like a satisfying kid-friendly VR experience would be like carnival game style things.
Sure.
Where you're just like at a shooting gallery.
Sure.
Which I guess is still problematic because it's based in shooting stuff. You still got a gun.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if we diverted into interrogating like gun culture being programmed into American youth at a young age, I mean, we'd be here
be
for
part of it.
Duke Nukem.
Extension we can get outside of 433. Yeah, the blaster's a little bit weird. I'm also I don't know what I do with an elephant. Have you seen this thing? It's like the face, trunk, and ears of an elephant. And
that sounds cute.
You put it up to your face, and presumably you eat peanuts.
You wear the elephant mask.
That's right.
I'm all in. Now so you like play as an elephant?
I would think so. Yeah.
I'm all in. Of course, I want to play as a cute little elephant and watch my friends look at me look like a silly Billy with an elephant. Of course.
Of course. And the bird, you kind of look into its butt.
I'm sorry, what's this?
So there's a bird. And
you look into its coacula?
Yeah, you like staring right into the business end of a bird.
Uh-huh.
So,
Nintendo, what's up, buddies?
What's up, guys?
How you guys doing?
What's up? What's going on? So I don't know. We'll find out more about this as we get closer to it, I'm sure. I will probably pick up the starter kit here. I'm not really interested in spending another $80 on Labo. I've done it twice.
Yeah.
And I don't, a third time doesn't seem necessary.
Sure.
Greg, we got a Mortal Kombat 11 story trailer.
We sure do.
That game's coming to Switch. Do you want to talk about it?
No, thanks.
Oh, all right.
Just kidding. I want nothing but to talk about it.
Greg, now you like a Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
I like a Mortal Kombat.
Yes. It's very nice.
It's very nice.
To quote Borat.
To quote Borat, but not use his cadence.
No, it's very nice.
It's very nice.
My wife.
It's hard to do, isn't it? Mortal Kombat games always have absurd presentation, very nice stories, such as they are either well acted or at least compellingly acted.
They're at least compelling, yes.
Yes. It's maybe not correct to call them good, but they're always fun.
Yeah, I have a blast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this new game has a time travel component to it.
It sure does.
Bringing in members of the cast from all over Mortal Kombat history.
Yeah.
It turns out that Kronika, the Keeper of Time.
My name is Kronika, Keeper of Time.
Which, perfect, by the way.
Yeah, I'm all in.
She is gathering. She's like, hey, history turned out not the way we want it to, which I can relate from this point in history. And she's like, I'm going to bring everyone together from throughout history to change history.
Yeah.
It's not clear what her aims are exactly.
It's not 100% clear, but what I will say, Mortal Kombat storylines, I would say that I not only expect, but I kind of delight in how incomprehensible the mythology gets.
Yeah, absolutely.
How like folded in on itself.
Yeah.
And when I found out it was going to be a time travel element, I was like, "Whew, you guys are outdoing yourself."
Here's the thing. They sort of have done time travel in the past.
Is that right?
Well, Mortal Kombat 9 is a...
What did that come out for? Was that like PS3?
Yeah, that's the PS... It's the one right before the Injustice.
Yes, I played that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Mortal Kombat 9 is a retelling of Mortal Kombat's 1 through 3 after Raiden sends a warning back in time to himself.
Yes.
Because the universe collapsed on itself during a Mortal Kombat versus DC universe.
Wow, I love it.
So Raiden's already tried to mess with history, and now Kronika's like, I can double change history.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get everyone together, and we're going to get Cassie Cage fighting her old man.
Yeah. Johnny Cage, very funny in this trailer.
Have you seen the Johnny Cage fatality?
It makes me very happy.
It's so good. I always sort of like Johnny Cage. I think they are nailing him in this.
Johnny Cage is one of my all-time faves. To hear you say that you sort of liked him.
I'm sorry. Would you say he's in your top 10 fictional characters?
Of all time?
Yeah.
He's number one. No, I don't know.
He's good. I'm excited. I'm excited about the story
very excited.
in this game.
And it does look, even though the mythology folds in on itself, even though it's time travel, even though Kronika is the Keeper of Time, it looked kind of followable to me. It looked clear. It looked like they set up the MacGuffin at least well enough where I'm like, yeah. I kind of know what will be going on level to level.
Well, and it also, like, I would bet Like the premise is wacky enough that you can't really complicate it further. You're just like, everyone is here and we're all going to fight.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the premise.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
And everything, all of the action that they show us, it's as violent and gory as you would expect from Mortal Kombat.
There's one weird thing about it I did want to bring up is that the trailer devotes a decent chunk of change to what looks like a gun battle, a shootout. Did you notice that?
So one of these guys has guns.
Yes.
And uses them in the game.
Yes.
Like Stryker used to.
Yeah, I think that's fine. There's footage in this game where it's like every single character has a different gun, and it looks like literally like a shootout. And I'm not necessarily...
I'm not crazy. It's making me laugh right now, but I'm not crazy about it.
I mean, maybe it's just like a cutscene sort of thing.
If they're doing like an extended like Mexican standoff kind of thing as part of a cutscene, and then like Johnny Cage like walks in and like makes a joke about it, like I'm there for it.
Me too. I'm intrigued. But I am skeptical.
Yeah,
about gun battles in Mortal Kombat.
Yes. Look, we can rip out some spines.
Sure.
Just like, don't pull out a gun.
Sure.
Do you think when this comes out that you'll be getting it on Switch, or are you going to go for a platform that is higher performing?
Oh, I've already pre-ordered it on Switch.
Perfect.
Yes.
I have not, but I probably will play it on Switch. Man, playing a fighting game on a plane is so fun.
Is that right?
I love it.
I don't know if I've tried it yet.
I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's when Smash Brothers came out on the 3DS, that became my go-to plane game for like 2 years.
I mean, what a game changer.
Yeah. What a way to spend your flight.
Yep.
All right. Nintendo has apparently asked its mobile partners to increase the drop rate of rare items and characters in Dragalia Lost to prevent their players from spending too much money on their games. An official from Cyber Agent, which is the company that owns Cygames, the co-developer of Dragalia Lost, said, quote, Nintendo is not interested in making a large amount of revenue from a single smartphone game. If we managed the game alone, we would have made a lot more. The Wall Street Journal goes on to report, quote, Nintendo sees smartphone games primarily as a way to increase interest in its game characters so that the player will consider buying traditional console games, the company's main business. That's according to one Nintendo official. The company is concerned it might be criticized for being greedy in smartphone games. Greg, what a weird move.
Is it?
I'm on board with it.
Yes. It is a weird move from the point of view of being the top executive of a company in a capitalist society, let's say.
Where you're like, our business is making too much money.
Yes. Let's stop.
Yeah.
But they're right. It is such an annoyingly pervasive trend, not just in mobile games, but certainly it's a lot there of like friggin' having to buying your way to win the game, having to buy the items. And I like this move a lot. Yeah,
I like this move a lot too. And it does the thing that's so weird, especially with the statement that it's smartphone games primarily as a way to increase interest in its game characters so that players will consider buying traditional console games. There is no traditional console version of Dragalia Lost.
This is an exclusively mobile game.
This is an exclusively mobile game, a brand new Nintendo IP that at present only exists on phones.
Do they have one in development maybe?
No one knows.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. Dragalia Lost's revenue is below Cyber Agent's expectations, even though the game has made over $75 million to date, which surpasses both Super Mario Run and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Wow.
And all of these are dwarfed by the behemoth that is Fire Emblem Heroes, which has made over $500 million since its launch in February of 2017.
That's very interesting to me. As you say, this is the first time we as a society have ever heard of Dragalia Lost.
That's right.
And it's beating Mario.
Yeah, well, the way Mario Run is monetized, it's you spend $10 and you get the game, or you don't spend $10 and you don't get the game.
Yeah.
End of story. Dragalia Lost, you can buy, packs to get rare characters, whatever.
Yes.
And, Animal Crossing is similar in that like you can spend money to get coins and stuff faster, but the game, like Pocket Camp isn't bad at just letting you play it without spending money on it. Like it is one of those free to play games that is genuinely free to play.
Yeah.
And if you want to like kind of cheese it, you can spend some money. And I guess that just isn't exactly the calculus for Fire Emblem Heroes, which seems like it wants your money.
Yeah.
And
Ike needs that money.
I can eat that money.
Oh, I was saying Ike.
Ike can eat that money.
Ike needs that money.
I fight for my friends. I think is the thing that Ike says in one of the Smash Brothers.
I think that's right.
But yeah, good on Nintendo for being like, hey, this maybe isn't a good look for us.
They're playing the long game.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little bit crummy that Cyber Agent was under the impression that they were going to make more money and have to revise down. But I don't know. You know who you get into bed with before you get into bed with them.
That's true.
Last week, Square Enix announced a new Octopath Traveler game for iOS and Android called Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent.
Wow.
The game is a free-to-play single-player RPG set in the continent of Orstera, we'll say. Prior to the Seeds of Evil. Prior to the event of the original Octopath Traveler. Greg, did you play Octopath at all?
No.
Is that a U style game? It's a traditional JRPG.
I would say it's typically not.
Okay.
Typically, for me to get on board with an RPG, there has to be some kind of atypical coat of paint on it.
Yeah, sure. Well, and this game does look very pretty. It's got the
I do like the HD sort of, what is it called?
They call it HD 2D.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like that effect.
The 16-bit sprites in like a full 3D environment. It is cool, and it's neat to see that they're bringing a prequel over to smartphones. Although it looks like there are no plans for it to come out in the West right now. It is Japan only at the moment, and it's due out at some point this year. There are some bullet points I have here. I don't know if we really need to talk too much about it. The Octopath official Twitter account teased the fact that they are working on a second console Octopath Traveler game, but development will take more time. So this is just to hold this over.
Sure, it's a tiding.
That's right. It's a Diablo Immortal, if you will.
Oh.
But Blizzard did not set it up that way. People were expecting Diablo 4. They got Diablo Immortal, and then were mad. They were mad, Greg.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I wish I could help.
There's no way. There's no way to help. The original Octopath Traveler, which came exclusively to Switch last year, has sold 1.5 million copies. Moving on, in an interview with Nintendo Dream, Super Smash Bros. Director Masahiro Sakurai reflected on his work habits during the development of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Greg, first, let's get some for reference sake. Masahiro Sakurai's early work habits were no good. They were bad. It was too much working.
Mm-hmm.
During the development of Super Smash Bros. Melee, he reportedly worked for 13 months straight without a day off. 13 months, Greg.
That's 1 year and 1 month.
That's correct. And it's also a bad amendment. His 40-hour
40
shifts.
Yeah.
He would work for 40 hours at a stretch and then take 4 hours off to rest and eat. And this was a schedule that was so extreme that he was hospitalized for it.
Of course. When did he sleep?
During those 4 hours, I guess.
That's insane.
So that's our baseline. That's what we want to see some improvement from.
Yeah.
So he set a rule for himself that he would leave the office by 10 p.m. no matter what was going on. It sounds like he had a 10-hour day from noon until 10, which actually seems like a pretty rad schedule.
That's all right.
It's a long day ish, but not too bad.
By entertainment industry standards.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I've, not to brag, I've written on a television program.
Woo!
And there were days on that where I was there for like 13, 14 hours.
Which are long. Those are long days.
Yes.
Sakurai noted that many companies are discouraging extreme overtime these days. He also, in addition to his 10-hour days, he got weekends, 2 days off a week.
Hey, what a luxury!
Yeah, and that he took 3 whole days off over Christmas.
He's making improvements. He's making strides.
Yeah, Yeah, little steps.
Yes.
Little steps to betterment.
Yes.
He noted that since he is technically a freelancer, there are no strict demands on his time, and as long as the game comes out, nobody really cares how much or how little he works.
Sure.
So I guess kind of just saying that those are like hours that he puts on himself.
Yeah.
Which doesn't that doesn't necessarily make it better.
No, I don't think so. In general, there is like a really, it seems there's a really systemic kind of issue in the video game industry about crunching, about like squeezing your body and your brain and just forcing yourself to work so hard until you make yourself sick, as he seems to be doing.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like as you said, that is not absent from the entertainment industry at
Correct.
large. That if you're working in like anything creative, there is a kind of nonstop drive to like not stop working.
Correct.
Find a way to make your hobbies also work.
What are we doing here right now?
What do you mean?
I don't.
I'm having a nice time with my friend Greg.
Aw, thanks, Patrick.
But also, this is work. Perhaps most alarmingly, Sakurai mentioned that he continued to have stomach troubles during the development of Ultimate, and on quote 1 or 2 occasions he found he had food poisoning like symptoms, and rather than taking sick time off, he just got hooked up to an IV and then came into the office.
That upsets me.
It upsets me too.
Listen. Sakurai, you don't know me. I'm sure you're listening.
He is.
I too work myself to the bone and get stomach troubles as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
I relate to you like 1-to-1 in that regard. You gotta cut yourself some slack. Give yourself a break. The weekends are a good step. The 10-hour days are a good step.
But if it's not enough, and you're still getting food poisoning like symptoms, like you need more time for you. And look, I get it. We're excited about these 5 DLC characters.
Sure.
But like, they'll come when they come.
They sure will. And I imagine you have a great team that's there to like help you. That's very understandable.
That's right. Also, look, Masahiro Sakurai, this isn't a threat, but one day you will die.
It's true.
It's not a threat. I want to reiterate. And there will need to be someone to take your place.
That's true.
You can start grooming them now by saying, I'm giving you this responsibility, and stepping back.
That's true.
But, who am I to tell a legend in the gaming industry how to delegate?
I guess that's a fair point. I'm just worried. I don't know. Take care of yourself.
Too. Yeah.
See a nutritionist.
Finally, a new Splatfest has been announced for Splatoon 2. This weekend, it'll be Knights versus Wizards, which is the nerdiest and best of these Splatfests I've ever heard before.
To me, it's such a no-brainer.
Well, hold on. We'll get to that in 1 second because I want to talk more about that because I don't know that it is a no-brainer.
Oh, boy.
I have an answer, but the event starts on Friday, this Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific and runs until Saturday at 9 p.m. Pacific. So it's a couple hours longer than a Splatfest usually is. They're usually a nice even day. We've got 6 extra hours on this one. Splatoon got a version 4.5.0 update this weekend. The patch didn't include any new content, but it did fix a lot of things and rebalance some weapons and items, so it seems like it'll be a nice clean tournament. If you have access to either the Enchanted gear set or the Steel gear set, you can wear them with the appropriate Splatfest t-shirt. So with the Enchanted if you're on the Wizard team, or the Steel stuff if you're on the Knight team, and it makes your whole character look like either a wizard or a knight.
That's cute.
It is super cute. Check out there are like photos of them. Just Google them. They look great. Or I'll put them up on Twitter too. The gear sets can be unlocked by scanning in the Octoling Girl or the Octoling Boy amiibo. I believe they can also be achieved just in game, but if you have those amiibo and haven't scanned them in, like me, you can do that and be ready for Splatfest this weekend. Greg, where do you land Knights versus Wizards?
It's not. It's Wizards, obviously.
Okay, I also go Wizards, but I do like a knight.
You know what? Yeah, knights are very cool.
And look, they're wearing full suits of armor.
That's
in this
very
thing.
cool. Knights have a cool look. I like knights. I like the image of a knight. I like the mystique of a knight. I like what the Arthurian sort of vibe stands for.
Mm-hmm.
But wizards are magic, so that's better, right?
Wizards are magic, so that's better. A lot of wizards have, kind of dubious motivations,
Which is fun.
which is fun. But like, do you want that as your friend, or do you want a knight as your friend?
Ooh, a wizard. I want a wizard as a friend on the weekend.
Right, but you want
Like-
to work with knights.
Yes.
Yeah.
A wizard will like, if I'm like, can you believe what Trish was doing at lunch today? A wizard will be like, Trish is awful. And the knight will be like, well, technically you provoked Trish when you.
You'll get a lot of technicallys from a knight.
Yes.
A lot from a knight. Also, a wizard comes with a lot of built-in goofiness.
That's also true.
There's very
They
little.
get into mischief.
There's very little goofiness with a knight, except for maybe at medieval times.
Medieval times are a little goofy. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, those are goofy knights.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they are kind of self-serious,
Yeah.
the knights.
So let's all stay away from the knights. Let's try to be a little bit more wizardy
Mm.
and a little less knighty.
Mm.
All right, Greg, let's get out of the news. That is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Greg, thank you so much for joining me
Hey, thanks
today.
for having me. This was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. You did a great job.
Aw, so did you.
We had thank you. Is there anything that you would like to plug at this moment?
At this moment, I would love to plug my podcast.
Please do.
It's called Dope Town 3000.
Mhm.
It is a freestyle hip hop meets improv comedy meets storytelling hybrid podcast. We have a guest on, they tell a story, we turn it into a fully improvised rapped story.
Mhm.
It's so much fun. I have an absolute blast doing it. If you want to dive into it, why not start with the Patrick Ellers episode?
Uh-oh, I'm on an episode of the show.
He's been a guest, and he told a story that I believe had some Nintendo specifics in it.
It did, in fact. They rapped a little bit about Mario Kart.
We sure did. We had a lot of fun doing
Yep.
that.
Mhm. Also, this is it's like a magic trick when it
Oh, boy.
happens. It's sorry, I will heap a little bit of praise on you. The Dopetown guys are great at this. If it sounds like something in the abstract that you're like, that feels a little dorky or weird, it is not. It is awesome.
Thanks, man. That's so sweet.
No, I love your show. I
Thank you.
love seeing you guys perform. Dopetown 3000 is a good thing in the world.
Thank you. The feeling's mutual about you and this podcast.
Oh, thank you, Greg. But we do know that this show is a little dorky, is a little geeky. And,
Yeah.
if it embarrasses you, I apologize. But please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to say in your review, it embarrasses me a little, that's fine. If you like the episode, please share it on Facebook or Twitter. It doesn't matter. Where you do that, any little bit helps. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Greg is at Smith L. Greg. And Mark is at MKE Mitchell. The show is at Nin Cart Society. The Facebook page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. And Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Greg Smith, this is Patrick Ellers saying Seeds of Evil. Evil, evil, evil. And thanks for listening.
Campfire.